So when I bought this truck, one of the reasons that it was sold was supposedly there was a hole in the gas tank, and that's why it was parked. Maybe so. That's kind of weird that a truck this rust-free would have a hole in the gas tank, but the gas tank filler is here. So the tank, you had a lot of tank options in 1980 on Ford pickups, but the tank is right there. Right here. Whoa, wait a minute. Holy cow. Wow. Look at that hole. That's like 4 inches across. Oh, this is the sock for the fuel gauge. Oh, wow. I've never seen anything like that before. Yeah, it's got a hole in the gas tank, all right. It looks like maybe it had multiple holes over time and they were plugged. That is weird. The rest of the tank is okay. Underneath is in really good shape. That is so weird. This is definitely the low point of the tank. Wow, that is a new one on me. A hole that big in a gas tank. And this thing, I think it was parked 20 years ago. So, I mean, the truck was only on the road 20 years. Really crazy. Okay, well, I guess the next job is to take the tank out, which is take this strap off, and take this strap off, and the tank will drop right out. One of the things I want to test is the fuel pump on this truck. It looks like it's been changed before. This is a low mileage truck, so if that's been changed, it's probably changed shortly before it was parked, although 20 plus years ago. So what I did was, I've got the tank out, and I've just got this gas line hooked up to the fuel line, got a little gas in it, and all I want to do is check that the fuel pump's pumping. The fuel pump's going to come out right here, and I'm going to catch the fuel in a basin, basically start it for a few seconds and see how well it pumps. If it pumps okay, I'm going to hook it back up, call that done, and move on to installing the fuel tank. Just started there for a minute and it pumped a lot of fuel, a lot of nasty fuel, so I'm going to try that again. Yeah, it's pumping pretty well. Pretty well. Just in those few seconds it was running, it filled up this pickle jar. And that fuel is not good looking fuel. There's not much sediment in it, but it's not good looking fuel. So I'm going to try this one more time and see if I can pump all the bad gas out of it. The bad gas must be in the fuel line and the pump itself, because the tank was completely dry, obviously, with a hole that large. So let's try this one more time. Whoops. Okay, so you can see that the fuel pump is pumping just fine. You see the color of the fuel that's coming through now versus what was coming through just a minute ago. So the fuel lines are now clear. I don't see any sediment in there whatsoever. So we got all the crap fuel out. So I'm going to hook up the gas line. pulling well from here. I can see the suction's real good. Well, I gotta do something about those belts. But you get the idea anyway. Fuel line is clear, fuel pump's working great. No need to replace it. It sounds really good too. Fuel pump still working fine. No leaks. Rattling good. No complaints really. When the belts aren't squeaking, the engine's actually pretty quiet. Pretty neat. So I ordered a whole bunch of parts. It'll be in soon. Gas tank, brake hoses, brake cylinders, master cylinder, you name it. So we've got lots of work to do once the parts start arriving. But obviously, the fuel system is almost ready to go once I put the tank in it. I'll show you all how to do that. Putting the gas tank in the Ford is the new tank, is the old one. One of the things I have to do is change what sends the signal empty, half full, full to the fuel tank. It's called the fuel tank sender. The way it works is this thing is a little floatable piece of plastic and it floats in the gas. Goes up and down with the gas. And as it does, it moves this little wiper here, and that wiper sends a signal to the gas gauge. So the gas gauge and the sender have to be matched. You can't just throw any kind of sender into your car. If you screw it up, you can even get it to read backwards if you get the wrong sender. So this sender is for the Ford pickup. Looks exactly like the old one, which is good. Is the old one. It's so rusted I can't get it out, but I know it's shot because a piece of it was falling out of the hole in the bottom of the tank. So the way you put this in, it's real simple. You put it in exactly like the other one was. This thing has to point in the right direction in order to give you an accurate reading. And you just kind of feed it in, make sure that's the fuel tank sock. So that's a filter. That's the first line of filtration from the gas going in the tank. So make sure that's attached. You just carefully feed it in. This is actually a more precise instrument than you might think. And it fits in some slots very carefully to make sure it's perfectly aligned. Which is a little tricky because it's also got tabs here you have to get it under. So let me see if I can do that. It's a little tricky here to do. So you've got these little tabs here. And the reason these tabs are here is so that this doesn't move when you're installing the lock ring that holds all this together. Now this is going to be a little tricky. There's some crappy manufacturer's tolerances here. So I'm going to put the phone down and get this right. One thing I forgot is there's an O-ring under here. Make sure you put the O-ring in place before you put all this on top. I've got it all situated. And then this thing is called a lock ring. And the way it works is you put it in like that, and then you just, see these little tabs here that are sticking up? You just tap them so that it slides all the way over to one of these raised tabs, hits these bumps right here, these tabs. So it holds it in place. There's no nuts or screws or anything like the older trucks had. It's just a lock ring, and it basically spins. to hold everything in place. Okay, it's in place. Real easy. Just take a screwdriver, like I was saying, put it up against one of these tabs, and just lightly tap it with a hammer, and this whole thing, this lock ring, will spin around until it fits under these 3 tabs here. This won't move. If that's moving, you got a problem. That'll stay right where it's supposed to be. And that's how you put the sending unit in. Next up, I'm going to put a new fuel hose on it. That's the same length as the one I took out, because that one's shot. And I'm going to put this vent in. I don't know that those are available aftermarket, so I'm going to reuse the one that was in there, but make sure that it's sealed very well. While the tank is in, you can see one of the straps there. One of the straps there. The engine's running off the tank. That's the fuel inlet going in. That hose goes right down onto the top of the tank. Fuel gauge is hooked up. Fuel gauge is working. It's right at E because I put about 3 gallons in it. That's about right. It was below E before I started putting fuel in. Running completely off the tank. Still have a nasty belt squeak and a vacuum leak somewhere that I have to fix. But it's running. The tank is in. So the first repair is done. Moving on to the brakes next.